smile. Hello, everybody. We made it. We apologize for the delay. Technical difficulties happen. You know, it's what we do.
When you live stream, you live stream.
Yeah, this is definitely live. So if you've watched our show, you've seen some live moments that we can't control. But welcome to Witches and Wine. This is the show where we talk about witchy stuff and we drink wine. Clink and drink. Clink and drink over there. Hi, Jessica. There's Jessica. All right. So I am your hostess with the mostest, Lola Stardust, Lady Lola Stardust. And I am the High Priestess of Children of the Crossroads ATC in Spokane, Washington.
And I am Lord Silent Stardust, the High Priest of Children of the Crossroads ATC here in Spokane.
You forgot. And before we start the show, I like to do our little disclaimer. It has been brought to our attention in the past that some people don't like to watch witches give information or do interviews under the influence of wine. Obviously, they are not followers of Dionysus, but that's okay. We have a solution. Go to the corner of your screen and click that X, and we disappear. Then you don't have to watch our shenanigans. So, before we get started with our awesome guest, I'm going to turn this over to my husband, my partner in crime, my high priest, the love of my life. You always give me that look, like, really?
Oh, I love every second of it.
Silent as Stardust, why don't you tell us about the wine?
I would be happy to. Would you care to hold it for me tonight?
Yes, and I'll hold the wine.
So tonight I chose Campo Viejo Rioja Reserva.
Say that 3 times.
This is a Spanish wine, one of the most highly distributed Spanish wines in America. You can find it at most retailers that sell even decent wine. Not expensive, but really tasty. Going to run you about $12 to $15 a bottle. It is aged 2 years in a barrel, 1 year in the bottle before it is sold. That's what makes it a Rioja Reserva. It is out of the Rioja region of Spain, made with 100% Tempranillo grapes, and nice tannins, very rich, lots and lots of dark cherry, a touch of blackberry, and just a touch of spice.
Have we had this before?
Personally, yes, we've had it quite a few times.
Not on the show, but
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I can't keep track of all the wine I drink.
Yep, I know. I do. That's what I do.
Mm.
And but yeah, get a hold up to a nice steak. It's gonna go really well with some flank steak or some fajitas. So yeah, nice pairing, not expensive, really tasty, and easily found.
Awesome. Well, thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
Well, so let's get to our guest. We know this person personally. Yep. He's a friend of ours. Actually, can you see the purchase I made from you, Gwydion?
I can.
Yeah.
Yep.
It hangs there. We honor Hecate, and he made this beautiful piece, and we got it from him. And I always think of you when I walk by the living room or the wall every day. So our guest is Gwydion Pendragon. Welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
I'm very good now that we got it all working.
Yep.
It
Technical
happens.
difficulties are always fun with setting up.
We get a little flustered. All of us do. You're not the only one, because I'm like, oh, we got to start, and so I lose train of thought in my thing. But you know what? People are used to me losing my train of thought, so it's really not a big deal. So I will take all the fluster from you, and I will drink it away. It's okay, because it's magic. So Gwydion has one of the most interesting lives. First of all, you have done some workshops. You did some crystal workshop, which that's
Absolutely.
another show. That's another show by itself. Your knowledge of crystals is unfreaking real. So yeah, I want to definitely have a crystal talk with you on the next show if we don't scare you away and you want to come back.
Oh no, guys, I love you guys.
Wait, he's
You're my people. You're my only local people.
Yeah, he's known us for a while and we haven't scared him off yet. As a matter of fact, he actually sought us out at a Beltane and said, hey, and we ended up just clicking and knowing, just loving each other. So I love that. It's awesome. First of all, where are you from? Where are you residing? So let the people know.
So right now I'm in Spokane here with you guys. Before that, I was in Montana for about 12 years or so. Originally, I'm from California, and Northern California to be specific. So basically, if you read up about the history of pagans and our exodus to Northern California, my family was in the center of all that.
We're gonna get to that because that's got some interesting stories.
So that's it.
And are you part of a coven? Because I see you. Are you Garden of the Crescent?
I am technically part of a coven. Yes, I'm not technically. I am part of a coven. Garden of the Crescent Moon, and with Gwen, and Gwen did some of her upbringing with the same person you did, Bella. Gwen was one of the first graduates, actually. And she is my high priestess. I am a high priest with her. I was so enamored with their coven that I decided to actually do the degree system, even though with my upbringing, I didn't really do. I hate to say it, I didn't have to study. But you know, they were very fun. They were like you guys. Very fun, very cordial, very approaching. And
where are they located? Are they in?
They're in Kalispell.
That's what I thought. So do you? So yeah, because I know them, and I know that they just look. I have not. I probably have met them in person, you know, but their events. Yeah, their events and whatnot always look amazing, and I always want to kind of take a trip and say hi.
That was only like a 2.5 hour drive. It's not bad at all.
Oh, really?
It's not too bad. It's not too bad. In good weather, it's not too bad. In good weather, I can't be with my people right now.
It's pretty.
Which is why I sought you guys out, because when I can't be with my people, you guys are the next best thing, and it's really like not being away.
Yeah, it's home away from home. That's what Nimer Laveau calls us when she comes from the
cousins.
There are cousins, we call them. But then when she comes to visit us and stay with us, she's in the Mother Church Coven. She always says, "This is my second home. This is my home away from home, my coven away from coven." And that's what I love that. I love that we all have that connection and family, and boy, do we need it now. Community and connection. Oh my God, clink and drink to that. We're going to be doing a lot of clinking and drinking. I tell you what, our dog is whining. She's a whiny dog.
I have one real quick. I want to tell you guys about this.
Yeah, talk about your wine.
Look at the bottle. I did buy it for the bottle. It's a Caucasian wine. Caucasus, not by white people, but by Georgians. And it comes from the Caucasus Mountains. And it is Kinsmarali. And it's a semi-sweet red.
Yep.
And it's pretty highly rated, actually, with, I got it from Total Wine. Now, the interesting thing about Caucasian Mountains is they are home to the Circassian pagans from way back, right?
Nice.
So these are some of the original Circassians from the Abkhaz, if I'm pronouncing correctly, Abkhaz native religion of pagans, and it's a semi-sweet red, so that's what I'm drinking.
Well, we love when our guests drink with us because you're on the same wavelength. We all love Dionysus, I'll tell you that.
One of my patrons.
Yeah, it's definitely one of ours.
Like I said, largest statuette in our house is Dionysus.
We have all these statuettes that are about this big, and our Dionysus one is like this big. It is just really, really tall. Yeah, so I mean, it makes sense in our house. So I want to get to the conversation because you've got like an amazing past and upbringing. Tell us about your childhood and what your lineage and all that, how that happened, and all the witchcraft you learned at such a young age.
Okay.
Born pagan, literally.
Yeah, born a pagan.
It's all I've really ever known from birth. Where a lot of people find paganism because other faiths have let them down, or not really been what they were looking for. This is all I've really known. Now, that is to say that I'm a studier, I'm a student of all faiths. And I believe that all faiths have truth in them when we let them speak for themselves and not get our own baggage into it. So my grandmother was one of my chief teachers. She taught me basically kitchen witchery. She taught me throwing bones. She taught me some old methods of everything from like tarot and cards, using dice to do them. And she was my first real experience. My dad has raised me in that. And my grandpa, though, he was a Catholic, Roman Catholic. So there was always that sort of, oh. Now my mom is Roman Catholic. So my mom and my grandpa got along great. But so my dad raised me around paganism. So I knew what being skyclad was before I knew what being naked was. My evenings would be spent running around to neighborhood trees and grabbing ginkgo leaves and things off people's yards, and doing stuff like that. Some friends didn't mind it. Others I lost. But were they friends at that point? Probably not. I don't mind. Looking back now, I don't mind. It was kind of hard to play hide and seek with the local neighborhood witch because my dad was very out and proud. And this was back in when there wasn't closet witches much. I mean, there wasn't out of the closet witches much.
Out of the closet witches, yeah.
And so I learned about herbs. I learned about kitchen magic. I learned about charms, hexes, spells, curses, all of it. My grandmother did not and does not, to this day, hold back. It's all about a whole. It's all about recognizing everything, the good, the bad, the sexy, the not so sexy. But that was the thing. And so there was a big exodus. Do I get into this now?
Well, I first want to say Oberon is in our audience, saying hello. We had Oberon on a while ago, and we had technical difficulties. But Oberon, we're gonna have you back. I need to message you and get you back here in the studio. I would love to have you part of this interview, but we're going to focus on Gwydion, and maybe the next time we can have both of you on, and you can tell us actual stories of that time in your life.
So Gwydion, do you want to explain your connection with Oberon?
Oberon, thank you, sir. So I refer to him. Hi, Otter. How you doing? Love you. Thank you for honoring me as I try not to embarrass us. And also homemade butterscotch meat. That sounds wonderful.
I was kind of licking my lips when I was thinking of that.
So Oberon. So I know him as Otter, and how people know him, what name they use, kind of tells them what part of his life. Some people know him as Tim.
Yeah.
So Oz, he's acting as my second father. Back when we had an exodus to Northern California.
Yes.
Oberon and his loving wife, and I say this with all reverence, she was the goddess in person, incarnate. In a room full of strong male egos, especially when there was the upcoming Norse thing and shamanism thing that was going on. She stopped these big men, burly men who have to have an ego to prove and to show their virility. She would stop the entire room in their tracks. She would just do it. If you didn't believe in magic, you certainly did when that woman walked in.
Oh yeah, I didn't have the pleasure of meeting her. We have met Oberon a couple times, and we love Oz. But yeah, we never got the privilege. But I mean, I feel like I know her because I've heard such amazing stories about her.
So
Morning Glory is who we're talking about.
The hair on my arm standing up thinking about these stories.
Let's do a little clink and drink to Morning Glory.
Yes,
absolutely. So go ahead. So you did your exodus, and
so there was an exodus because there was something happening in a part of California. We will not give that any more energy because it was not a good thing, but it pushed us towards getting our own place, our own places, that were our own hallowed ground that we would find and build up. Something that wasn't there that we would come, into with Mother Nature and Gaia and with Oberon's Gaia thesis and everything, which is, if you haven't looked that up, that's one of his first pieces, and you really, really should.
And his little Gaia statues that are so
absolutely
beautiful. Oh, I want one so bad.
So we moved to Northern California, Mendocino County. We've tried a few different places. We even tried in Oregon there for a little bit with Gwydion Pendderwen. We'll get to that. Mm-hmm. We made our own roots. This is where Green Eggs started really proliferating the magazine in Ukiah. And Oz did everything from getting coven built and a community built, because it went just beyond covens. It was a community between he and his wife. Here's the thing that made them different, and I'm trying not to get emotional, but
honey, it's witches and wine. It's good.
Back when this happened, I'm like, I went to their hand fasting. Is my first real one where I was a part of when I was 3 years old. I'm a lot older than that. Almost 50 more than that. So back then, though, when I was a kid, kids really didn't have a place. We were kind of shuffled off, just like everywhere else. But Oz and Morning Glory got together, and between the two of them, they gave us a place. They didn't just give us a place. Oberon started this thing that we call the his apprentice wizard books. Handbooks for the apprentice wizard. And where that started was in his homestead, writing down in these composition books, filling up notes, using us honestly in the best way possible as guinea pigs for what he was building. Even though he might not have seen where I was going, or maybe he did, which is my thing. Years and years later, this is where real North American paganism really started its roots. And it started with the children of us, and they were teaching us songs that were our history. And it was that immersive, and for a kid who didn't have anywhere else to go and anywhere else to be pagan, because, that's all I've known. It's not like I can just go out and, it's not like we're witchy. It was, it was like, okay, this is Thursday,
this is what you do. And we don't know sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but we don't know a lot of witches that were born pagan into witchcraft or paganism. I think we know a couple.
I know a handful.
Yeah, maybe on one hand that we can count. And so it's a different experience from those of us who
learned it as adults or teenagers,
or knew that we were something different, but were not allowed to express that. So I that's beautiful that as children you guys were just like, this is our life, this is what we do,
and we got to intermingle with other pagan kids. Like I met Oberon's birth son Brian and Morning Glory's child, and we got to intermingle, and we got to not have to be on alert, and this was a time when, we had these Satan scares, the witch scares and things, which is what drove us. Yeah, the satanic panic, exactly, which is what drove us north, and we didn't have to hide our brooms, we didn't have to be normal, whatever the hell that was. And for the most part, it was kind of a redneck community. Absolutely, sir. Brian was the first kid to be born into and raised into a pagan family in 1963. my brother wouldn't come into it till like 66, but he didn't stay that. He is now he's a Jewish rabbi, and I don't want this because then he has questions to answer in front of his congregation, and I
Oh yeah,
respect him. So
absolutely.
I don't I don't put it on his webpage.
But there's magic in that tradition too. I mean,
the Kabbalah and all the mysticism that comes with
absolutely the
Yeah.
Gnostic piece of that, from Solomon's Keys to, oh my gosh, some of our earliest texts that we use ourselves is still about that, and they don't deny it. They don't deny the fact that there's a magical piece to it, which is great. But that Oberon is like me. He's a student of everything, so it's always going up there. You meet the man in person, and he used to do this thing. Oberon, I'm going to give away some of your details. He'd take us out to this field, and he'd say, you want to see magic, and we're like, yeah, okay, watch this. You see those clouds up there, and he'd point. And he was still very, very stoic, but very Merlin-esque. I'd say Dumbledore, but he was very much more Merlin. He was Dumbledore.
Yeah. He's a Merlin.
He'd go up and he'd see that one right there, and he'd go up and he'd say, "This is what I call cloud poking."
Yes.
And he'd reach up and he'd go like that with his finger. And you guys can say what you want. You don't have to believe me. I don't care if you do, because I was there. The cloud poofed a hole in it.
It's called cloud busting.
I swear to the goddess that the cloud poofed a hole exactly where he pointed, exactly when he pointed, not 2-3 minutes later, not kind of, it happened. And it didn't just happen once. We would do this on occasion. We would go out every day or so. There wasn't much to do sometimes on the mountain. And we would do cloud poking, I think that's what
we called it cloud busting. And
cloud busting, there we go. Cloud busting, that's it.
And this is what doesn't surprise me, is because Oz and I have gotten into many conversations about LSD, and that is one of our favorite things to do. At least me and my friends used to do when we were on LSD. Yes, we used LSD. Sorry. And we would go out on a beautiful morning and look at the clouds, and we'd say, let's do some cloud busting. And we'd either do it with our hands or we would do it with our minds.
Cloud busting.
And yeah, it's amazing. It's a real thing. It's awesome.
It absolutely is. And it's one of the easiest for a kid if you're trying to get your kid to wrap their head around it, right?
Yeah.
And to see that some of it is real, and the magic of synchronicity, and what magic actually means and does. These are some of the ways that you can do it. And I am going to plug Oz's books for that, because the Apprentice Wizard stuff, and Witch and Wizard stuff, is really easy for a kid to digest, and they don't have to be chaperoned when you do it. They don't have to be guarded when you do it. It's very digestible. It's not extreme. And he even built a school around it. He was one of the first schools to exist, and it was his dream, and I got to see it. I remember when he still reached out to me. I think it was 2016. He reached out and he says, "Gwydion." I said, "Yeah," because I hadn't talked with him in a little bit. I'm like, "Hi, Oz. Oh my God. So much has happened. I'm in Montana." And we started talking about ley lines and stuff, but he's like, "It's a thing." I'm like, "What's the thing?" He says, "Gray school is a thing." Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh my God."
Yeah.
And it was all the good things that you would think that a magic school could be.
Yeah. You had you had a magical childhood, and that's
absolutely
that's so rare.
I was blessed, and I didn't realize how blessed I was, because I was born into it, and it was just okay. Today's Tuesday. Sorry, my screen keeps flickering around.
That's okay.
Instead of having to shut down the magic as children, you got to enhance it and experience it day in, day out, where your parents are, no, that's not going on. I need you to do this, this, and this. And you're like, and they're doing that. Yes. Now you see the energy line here connecting with this, and now you see.
Absolutely. And firsthand, it was about that experience. And we didn't have to have it explained to us because it was just what we did Saturday. You know, we made
That
our
was a Saturday.
besoms. We made our besoms. We made our when I hear it in my head, I hear athami, because that's what my dad called it. It's called athame, whatever, however you want to pronounce it. I guess it's not called anything. It's called what you want. Ritual knife was my grandmother's way, and she'd be like, "It's a bowling." You know, I use it for herbs and I use it to cast. My grandma used whatever she had. One of Oz's friends used a cigarette to smudge with, or not a cigarette, a marijuana.
A joint.
Aperitif. To smoke the circle with. And we were in the Shaggy Mushroom, which is a thing that we can get into at the time, and it was in the dead of winter, and it was cold as hell out, and we had snow up there, and that's what we had to use because nobody wanted to go into the other house and get the actual sage.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what we did. That's what we did. I was like 10 at the time, 9 or 10.
We've used like Cheetos or chips for the cakes and ale because we forgot to get our usual cakes. And we're like, well, what do we have? I mean, crackers or whatever. It's not about because some people get all hung up on the specifics.
Yeah. We're not ceremonial magicians.
Where it's about.
There's a place for that. There is.
Yeah, absolutely.
High magic meant something totally different to some of those people up on our mountain.
We're not ceremonial magicians. I love that.
Oh my gosh, I love ceremony. 21 years. Oh my gosh, 21 years.
Yeah, 21 years. It's amazing. So what are the things that some of the amazing lessons that you've learned about witchcraft and paganism that you could now pass on to other people who are just getting into it or are kind of trying to find their way? What are some of the things you would say to them? Because you've been doing it for so long. Mm-hmm. I feel you have a spot and a right to say, hey, you know what? This is what and can I just say, Gwydion, I love you because I have met a lot of pagans that have been studying paganism as long as you, and there's a lot of ego out there.
Yeah.
And you have no ego. You are all about sharing and learning. And so I just want to say that is a wonderful trait. I love that because we put up with a lot of ego, and
we always enjoy your energy when we're around you, and we always have a good time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what is something you would say to those pagans that are just starting out or they're just trying to find their way? What would something be, some of the lessons you've learned?
Okay, so the biggest lesson is the one you just touched on, actually. Because I grew up when I did, because I saw these egos splitting us up, because I saw Wicked going one way, I saw shamanism going another, I saw Druidism going another, because the other two people I was raised around, Isaac Bonewits, one of Oz's best friends, and the founder of the ADF, basically the Druidic movement of the United States, we'll just say it that way.
Yeah.
And he also raised half-breed wolves. And Gwydion Pendderwen, who gave me my namesake when I was 3 years old. Gwydion was standing in the living room of my dad. I had a fever at the time. This was in San Jose. He was over and he had a talk with me. My dad had me naked in the middle of the living room underneath this copper pyramid in the middle of the living room. My mom was not happy about it. She was an RN, and she was like, "This is not going to help him." And he's like, "You don't know." And she's like, "Yes, I do." And so they're just, it was what it is.
That's amazing.
Different kinds of healers.
Absolutely.
So I saw my mentors being split up by egos. And so the first thing we need to do, egos are going to be a part of it, just because you have to have a little bit of a one, I think, if you're going to lead a coven, especially a big one.
Yeah.
Bella has one, Oz has one. They need one because you need to have something there, a backbone, if you will. But at that point, though, you can't be a gatekeeper. You can't be. That's not the way.
Yeah.
So my truth is this to you, that when we say we are all connected, as above, so below, as within, so without, imagine it as that connection. We are all connected. Everything around you is connected. Even the inanimate things, they're connected. As such, there is no wrong way. There are only right ways and your ways.
Yep.
So find which one feels the most like an old pair of shoes to you. Find which one doesn't feel alien with you and go with it. Because in a room of 10 fam trad, which is like me, family tradition, us born into it.
Yeah.
In a room of 10 fam trad witches, you're going to find 20 to 30 different ways of doing it. And they'll contradict themselves. So one time it might work to do tarot this way. Another time we're going to do it this way. We're going to throw some bones in the tarot, right in the middle of the tarot deck, and that's what it's going to be. And this is the way we're doing it. Why? Because I had some wine, and I really feeling this, and I think that this is the way I need to do it tonight. So find which way works for you. Find the people who will allow you to say that. Find the people that don't make you walk their path or let their cake billow behind them, but help you billow yours. And when you find that group, cultivate that group. Because those are the ones that will truly understand what synchronicity means. And that's a word Oz really empowered. There we go. Omnia vivunt. Everything is alive. Everything is interconnected. Omnia mea mecum porta. Omnia mea mecum porta. All my things I carry with me. All my things I carry with me. That means that was Cicero's way of saying that everything he needs is on his back.
Yeah.
He's not leaving anything behind. Everybody's asking why when everybody's fleeing Rome because they're about to be invaded. They have carts and carts and loaded up horses of stuff and everything that they can carry. And he's just walking down the street and he's got nothing. And they say, why are you leaving all this, all your belongings, all your valuables to our oppressors, the people that are going to take it all? And he said that Omnia mea mecum. Gosh, I forget the last one.
Omnia interse Latin stuff.
Omnia mea mecum porta. All my things I carry with me. And he says, everything I have with me is here. Everything I have with me is here.
Well,
they can't take this and they can't take this.
And so you also can't take it with you when you die. Like you
absolutely.
You can't. So,
and that's the most important thing that you do. So when you find your way, when you find something that works, when you find that synchronicity, when you find things just aligning, and you just like, wow, we did this whirlwind that just brought up all the energy, and it was just around us, and we raised this cone of power, and I got goosebumps. So the first time in my life I actually felt it. And it all just drains out, and you're just like in tears because you feel that connection of the goddess. You feel that connection of being one. You now have a responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take that feeling and you have to give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
You have to make sure that person is the type of person that will then give it to somebody else because this was another one that I remember Oz repeating, and I use it all the time myself. Knowledge shared is knowledge squared. So that means that when you share your knowledge, you gain more knowledge by doing it. So when I'm teaching a class, which I only taught because it was you guys.
Thank you. We appreciate.
So I got to help put us on the map, and because I owe Oberon, because if I don't share what he's taught me, it's wasted. It dies with me. And what good is that? What good is that? They worked so hard trying to piece together our history because it was burned, because it was lost, it was forgotten. And when it wasn't forgotten, it was told it was forgotten.
It was word of mouth. We don't have the written text, but for the last 80 to 100 years in our
there we go.
Yeah.
So what wasn't done word of mouth had to be excavated, had to be found. And some things had to be recreated, like when Oz. I don't want to ruin all this stuff because then you guys are gonna have much to talk about. Well, Oz
we always have
we have no problem.
We always have a lot of stuff to talk about with Oz.
when Oz raised that ornery ass, I mean that wonderful unicorn, ornery ass that bit me on the ass all the time and ate my shirt or my tunic once, big old hole in it, and that took a while I had to go explain that to my grandmother, who did not believe me.
Yeah.
A unicorn ate a hole in my damn tunic. Yeah. Okay. Dad's giving you meat again, isn't he? I was like 5, And that happened. That was a thing.
Oh no, I believe that.
Do you want to talk about the unicorns? Because Oz has mentioned the unicorns when we talked to him previously.
He raised unicorns. He actually raised unicorns. He figured out a way to recreate unicorns.
Yeah.
The first one was Lancelot. It would pave the way for others. There was a whole big guffaffle about that it was abuse of some sort.
Yeah.
And they had him on, and they were trying to throw him over coals. And you had these veterinarians saying, "No, it doesn't hurt him at all. They don't even notice it's being done.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it's Mother Nature." Yeah, exactly. You ate my homework.
It's third eye shit. It's third eye shit.
And he found this out. And talk about synchronicity. Talk about coming into something like that. He's not a medic. He's not a veterinarian. He didn't have any of that stuff, but he found ways of doing it, and he found some old texts, and he put it together.
Yeah.
And it was a puzzle. And when you attack it like that, when you go into it and you say, "Okay, this is a mystery. How do I solve it?" And it becomes a game to him, because everything is a game to Oz.
Oh yeah.
Everything is a game to Oz. He doesn't take it too seriously. He takes it as seriously as he needs to, but he keeps it friendly, cordial, light, airy, approachable. That's just him.
There needs to be a human element.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, think about, so as Wiccans, we practice with the elements, and we were taught that the first element that you need to get in place is the physical realm, your earth element. Mm-hmm. And if you want to do magic, you got to make sure your home is in order, and your relationships are not. Now, when they say your home is in order, they're not saying it's got to be perfect, it's got to be big, you got to be rich. You just that's
can't be chaos.
That's the human element. Your human, mundane, muggle world or whatever needs to be somewhat organized and in order.
Secure.
You have to be grounded.
You can't do any of the other elements and work with them until that's done. So there is a human element to witchcraft and to Wicca and to paganism. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's supposed to be approachable. We don't want dogma. We don't want the stigma of not doing just because, we want to explore things. We're about the exploration. When we're told not to, and we ask why, and there's no answer, we have a problem with that. We hold our gods and our goddesses accountable.
Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something that I've just experienced is, and I experience it a lot because I have a very active online community. So I try to go to other active online communities, and I see this a lot, and there's a lot of gatekeeping, and there's a lot of my way is the right way. And there's this part of me that wants to say, you are doing exactly the things that we as witches and pagans that we came from that kind of abuse and that kind of thought. We want to do everything but that.
Yeah.
But again, the human element and the ego, it's going to be in everything that we do.
Everyone is special, but everyone isn't as special as they think they are.
What are you saying?
Unique. You are unique along with everybody else on the planet.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is not true. It's true, but in that regard, though, regard, if I'm grounded, now I will say this: you say to work with that earth element to ground you. I want to add something. If earth isn't your grounding element, if it is air
or water,
and air is what grounds you.
Yeah.
And every time people say, okay, we're going to dig deep into the earth, and you're closing your eyes and you're feeling that, and you're digging those toes in, and it's not working for you. Up here, using your third eye, go to that place in your head and just put those clouds at your feet.
I like that.
Put those clouds at you, because for me, I need to be grounded. I need to find a strong earth element person in the room that I can attach to, because I'm an empath and I'll feel that. But you might be able to tell by all the damn tears, I'm also a watchman. I'm the epitome of Cancer. So I wear everything. I mean, the epitome, the poster child. All the good, all the bad, so I'm going to go cry about it in the corner. But
I love that you're crying, because it means that
it's real.
That this is real, and you honor it.
Absolutely.
And it means something to you.
Absolutely. There goes my screen again. Okay. So if that's it, if it's water like it is for me, but I use earth to weigh me down, to hold me there so I don't go floating off, down the stream, if you will. And I will. Not just because of that, but because of my ADHD. So between the two, I'm great. If you don't like my mood, wait for it to swing on you.
It's like Spokane weather.
It's like Spokane weather.
Yes, absolutely. So, but if that's what it is, like with everything else, find out what works for you and go there. Go to that place, because I am the first person to champion you and defend you when you do it, and I'll explain why. If I'm there, I'll say, "Hey, look, I got this. Let me explain to him."
Yeah.
And I'll be friendly about it. I'll be cordial, but at the end, it's how you do it.
Clink and drink to how you do it. I just drank all my wine. So
this is how you do
it. How you do it.
ADHD brain, yes. Cheers, Jessica.
Clink and drink to ADHD brain. Yep.
Squirrel brain, monkey brain. There's a couple different variations of it out there.
I want to touch upon real quick. I mean, we started a little late, so we have time. Because I like to do about an hour, and we're good. But what I've said we would do a whole show on this. But would you say that crystals, because I'm looking at Jessica. Jessica is one of our online community. She's a friend of ours. She's I went to her house for a craft night, and I couldn't believe, I thought I had a lot of crystals. Oh my God, this woman has a lot of crystals. But I remember Gwydion showing crystals at the first Northwest Pagan Fest. And these were like huge crystals.
I've got 2 crystal balls that are about 25 pounds now, brand new ones that I'm going to show you.
So would you say that is your jam, your main attraction in our nature?
It has been the last 7-8 years.
Yeah.
I got into I came across a beautiful 21-pound labradorite.
That's one of my favorites. Did you know that's the?
I just stumbled across a 21-pound piece of labradorite.
Did you know that's one of the crystals of Hecate?
I did, and well, you told me this. The reason I know is because we talked for like 20 or 30 minutes at your event, your first ever Northwest Pagan Fest, where 20 minutes was unheard of that I took, and we had this conversation about it. And you told me, and I didn't at that point, but I do now, and I've looked up the reasons behind it, and it just amazes me. But
it's amazing, yeah.
Yeah, I came across this one that started it. And I don't want to tell you what I got it for. About $60. About $60 with free shipping. I got the guy to throw it. I talked him down. I feel bad. I talked him down. He wanted 200, and it was worth about 3,000.
So hold on. He wanted 200. It's worth 3,000. You talked him down to 60.
60 with free shipping. That's
my God.
Door. It would have cost me $60 to send it to somebody.
Yeah.
So that's what started it. That was back in 2016.
Yeah.
I just gotten enrolled into Oz's grade school, and I was drumming up hype about it, telling my stories, and why you should be here. And if you've come across this place on accident or on purpose, and you're trying to figure out a reason and whether this is the place you need to be, I'm here to tell you it is, and here's why I can say that. So I would do those things.
Yeah.
And I felt it was necessary for me to do this because people do listen, people do talk, which is really interesting because I just thought everybody kind of knew it. When you grow up around it, you think everybody does.
Well, because like you said, it's second nature. Yeah.
So I'd say crystals is a big one, but I'm going to be doing a new book. I just finished one. I already have the idea for it. I don't want to tell you about too much, but it's going to have to do with herbs, because herbs is really where my heart is, because it's my grandmother that piece of me brings me back to my grandmother. And oh my God, the herbs around Morning Glory, she had, telling by her name alone, she had everything.
Yeah.
And I have an apothecary of about 120 herbs, maybe 130 now.
Jealous.
And I'm doing stuff. I've got some stuff for you guys.
I would love
some
that.
tinctures and stuff.
That's my interest.
That's his interest. He
herbalism and apothecary.
Because he's the one that plants all our herbs and our plants around the house. And I just deal with them when they are grown. We've got a few plants. I'm like, I will take care of them, but I'm not a planter, but I do love the plants. And
I got some flying potions for you guys.
Ooh. We're all, ooh.
That's weekend stuff, but.
Yeah. Oh, of course. Before I forget, you've got a chalice I want you to talk about.
Yes. Oh my God. So, Doreen Valiente, you might know her from things like
Charge of the Goddess.
There we go. Charge of the Goddess. And we can read and things like that. Doreen Valiente first initiated another one of our elders called Janet Farrer.
Yeah.
Wife and consort of Stuart Farrer.
Who we've had on the show.
She's been a guest.
We've had her on the show.
Oh my gosh! So
yeah,
when she received the five-fold kiss, and that the five-fold kiss is your
initiation
into Wiccan paganism, and it starts with the five folds are the five parts of your body, and certain things are done as well. There was a chalice, and one of the parts of the ritual is you have to drink from the chalice, right? And she presented Janet with a certain chalice, and that chalice was her chalice when she broke off in like 1957, from what I've heard, from what Janet recalls. When she received her fivefold kiss, she gave it to Janet when that happened, when they were done with the ritual.
Yeah.
As luck would have it, Janet gave it to Gwydion at one point. Gwydion had it in contact, and Gwydion Pendderwen was best friends with my father. And when we lived up on Annwfn, up in Northern California, it came to my father when right before Gwydion had passed away, and Gwydion wasn't sure what was going to happen, but he knew something was going to happen, and he had actually alluded to that. So back in the 80s, it came into my father's hands, and when my father died in 2001, it came into mine, and this is the chalice.
Oh
That
God.
is Dwayne Valiente's,
Oh.
Jan Farr's, Gwydion Pendderwen's, my father Ronald Genzoli's, and now the unworthy person that I am has it, and it is one of our artifacts, and
a very cool one at that, sir.
Oh my God! You know what that reminds me of?
It
reminds me of. Did you watch Indiana Jones
In the Last Crusade.
In the Last Crusade when
yes.
they had to, yeah, it was
choose wisely.
Choose wisely.
Absolutely.
And everyone chose the glamorous,
the ornate,
and then there was the carpenter's cup.
It was made of wood.
But that looks it's very simple, but it's got so much power.
And it is, and it's got the original patina because I do not clean it. It's even got a little bit of the wear on it. Because Janet actually kept liquid in it for a little bit. And you can see it. And I in fact, when I came across it, and I was talking to Gavin Bowen, her consort.
Yep, we had him on the show with her.
I said, look, this is the history behind it. It is my dad's, but it was yours. And if you ask me, and you guys are the only ones to ask me, if you ask me, I will give it back to you. I would like to keep it because it gives me a connection to my past. And as a matter of record, it will give me a connection to you. And they said, absolutely. He says, let me check with Janet. And they talk and they talk and they talk. And they're like, what do you plan on doing with it? I said, oh, I'm going to keep it. But if anybody ever wants it, if anybody you deem worthy of it comes to me and you give them proof that you had said that you wanted to give it to them, it's theirs, because I am only the caretaker of it, right? This isn't mine. This is paganism. This is Wicca. This is witchcraft. This is all paths. And if anybody came to me and said, I would like to use it for the dedication of our coven, please, I want to come with. I want to see it. I want to experience that. You would, because it's about sharing. It's about community. It's about love. It's about cherishing that which is sacred to all of us.
It's a pagan historical artifact, like you said.
Yeah,
there's history to it that it connects dots and it connects generations.
And it's tradition, and we need, there's something to be said about tradition and the old guard. You don't have to like it, you don't have to practice it, but it's what keeps us going. So like our coven is based very much in a structure of like British traditional, and we do like all the things and stuff, but within that structure it's kind of more eclectic, but we still keep the tradition of what we do. Because let me real quick, we do online full moons now, our coven does, and we like to show people what we actually do. And one of our friends, Nimer Laveau from the ATC Mother Church Coven,
love her.
I know she's one of our best friends. She attended one of our online rituals, and she was very surprised that we believe it or not, this drinking coven that's known for having good times. She was very surprised to see how traditional we ran the ceremony, the ritual. And I went, really? Because I just assumed everyone did that.
Yeah.
But I guess they don't, and especially from someone that comes from an ATC, the Aquarian Tabernacle Church's Wise Tradition Mother Coven. For her to say that, I went, oh, I guess we do kind of hold some traditions, and that made me feel better, because I love that. I love tradition, but I also love the freedom and the autonomy to blend it with something that's relevant. And
we're creating the tradition, the Stardust tradition.
We have the Stardust tradition, yes.
Thank you, Oz, for attending. I love you, man. Thank you for being
Bye,
here.
Oz. Thank you. So yeah, so tradition is important, but we also need to evolve as pagans.
Absolutely, make your own traditions.
Yeah,
Yep.
I know the coven that in Great Falls that uses popcorn. My girlfriend and I at the time were we had just met, and we were going to this coven that we really didn't know much about. And we're like, oh, we're going to see it. And it was in Great Falls, Montana. And that you could tell that they were new to witchcraft, right? They were trying to piece it together, but they had a backyard full of chickens running around.
Awesome.
And the little ladies that were feathered were running around, and they set their circle in popcorn. And we asked
That's
why.
amazing.
And they said, well, because then the chickens eat the popcorn and the circle is open but unbroken. And I'm like,
my God.
that is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Well done.
I'm like, you don't know what that does to my insides, just like I am beaming.
Well, I want you to talk about your upcoming book. You were talking about your what you are into, crystals,
Absolutely.
and you mentioned tarot and throwing bones. You have a
Absolutely.
book that's out.
So this is the not for sale version, but you can get it. It's a book. It's more of a manual. It's a guide, if you will, on throwing bones in real people talk, right?
Yeah.
Something that's not pretentious, and something that if you've wanted to do something like tarot, but tarot just wasn't your shtick. If you were looking for a different way of divination, this is fortune telling, which is slightly different, but the same as divination.
Yeah.
And how to do it, how to go about it, items to use, what they mean, and ideas on how to make that your experience. And I do believe that this little thing that is available in e-reader form, tonight being the last day, free of charge. And if you get a hold of me, I'll give you a code or something, free of charge, because it's about sharing. And it's a very step-by-step guide to do it, but it's very wholesome on how to use one of the oldest, if not the oldest form of divination there is, and using curios, little trinkets, little things that you could keep on your desk, and nobody, like a coworker or a nosy mother-in-law, would even notice anything about your little junk drawer that you have in a bowl on your desk.
Yeah.
So if you want to do something and you're not sure about it, this is a really good way of doing it. And it's called Throwing Bones, an apprentice's guide to fortune telling and divination using bones, nuts, curios, and talismans. I know it's a mouthful, but...
Oh, I love it. And I just started reading it a few nights ago, and I'm just so excited. I love it so much. Yes. I highly recommend you guys find it. It's on Amazon for for your Kindles right now.
Absolutely.
And
that's my sigil, by the way.
Oh.
That's my sigil. So when you buy it, you're getting a connection to me personally. So there's that.
Our friend Miracle, who's part of our online quote-unquote coven, we have an online coven that we run. She says, oh, sir, we need to talk. I'm writing an introduction to divination book.
Oh,
so,
very good.
Yeah, she is, because Miracle is our other witch that's been pretty much a witch since birth. And nice. I will connect you two on Messenger, and you guys can just pick each other's brains.
Cheers to that.
Yeah,
Gross.
Cheers to that. So, oh my God, thank you so much, Gwydion. This has been, like I said, I want to do a show on crystals. I want to do a show on more divination. I mean, you have so many gifts.
I'm going to be doing one on herbs next, though. And you're going to love it. It's going to be something totally new.
I don't think we've talked about herbs on this show.
Celine a little bit. But
Celine a little bit, but
we haven't had an herb-centric.
We haven't had an herb-centric show.
This is going to be the 12. This is going to be the 12 sabbats and potions for them. So it's going to give you, basically, if you follow this guide, my intention is that by the end of following this real time throughout the wheel of the year, by the end you'll have an apothecary of not just herbs but the potions that you made yourself with your intentions.
Oh, I love that.
That's my next idea.
Well, let's talk, because I'm not an herb person, but he is, and but I still love learning about it, because I feel as witches and pagans, we are always learning
and evolving.
And evolving.
It may not interest you now, but 5-10 years, all of a sudden you're going to get the hankering to learn about herbs.
Yeah.
Especially what we've been through this last few. Oh my God.
Right? Jesus. Well, thank you so much, and I want to let our viewers know that we are a nonprofit coven, and donations are not required, but they are really greatly appreciated. We do a lot of public Sabbats when the weather's better. We help out with Northwest Pagan Fest. We do a lot of online things, which actually costs money if we want to keep it going, and also for our energy and all the things, and we would appreciate anything that you can donate. We have a PayPal. It's really easy. It's paypal.me, COTCATC. That's Children of the Crossroads, Aquarian Tabernacle Church, COTCATC. And we have a Venmo.
Okay.
It's the same thing, COTCATC on Venmo. Again, not required, but greatly appreciated.
Go flying fire chickens.
What'd you say?
I said, go flying fire chickens.
Yes.
That's
the ATC mascot.
That's Wilson Steen. That's the Wicked Seminary.
Yeah,
their mascot. Yeah, their unofficial official mascot. I love that. I love that you know that.
ADHD brain doesn't shut off.
I'm sorry, were you going to say something?
Oh, Gwydion, we appreciate you coming on so much and just telling all the stories. And it's been such a pleasure to get to know you over these last couple of years and having you part of our life.
And I'm really glad you're in Spokane. That means you need to come over and have dinner and wine with us.
Oh my gosh, you need to come over here. I'm a licensed, classically trained chef. I've been to culinary school, and I did my stage and my externship at a 2 Michelin star restaurant known as the French Laundry. So,
well, it's not too often I get someone who hasn't cooked me, but I will take that.
He's the cook in the family, and he's a wonderful.
For you to cook for you, sir.
You guys could cook together.
Oh, there we go.
And I will sit there.
Kitchen witchery,
and I will sit there and let these 2 amazing men just cook, and I'll be like, I'll drink my wine and just be like, oh, yeah, it looks like you're doing good. Okay.
Absolutely.
So if you're interested, those that are watching our show, if you're interested in what we do, if you have a wine suggestion, if you have a topic you'd like to hear about, or you want to be a guest, you can email us at
crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
I'm sorry, what was that?
That's crossroadscoven@gmail.com.
Remember, everyone, especially in this day and age, after yesterday, be kind to each other, support your communities, have each other's back, and always walk with the goddess. And until next time, blessed be.
Bye, all.
Have a wonderful evening.
Blessed be.
Thank you.
Marry part until we marry
meet again. May the gods preserve the craft as the craft preserves the gods.
Thank you all for tuning in.